Hey everyone, and welcome to this special bonus live stream about gifting crypto. So I'm very glad you were able to spend some time with me today, this beautiful Saturday morning. All of those who are able to come to this live stream presentation, except for Nathan. Nathan has to be somewhere. So everybody else, welcome, welcome, welcome. We'll talk about gifting crypto. And of course, we're coming up on a holiday season that is celebrated all across the world in all different religions and secular traditions. And it's going to be a perfect time to gift some crypto to your friends, family, and loved ones. Or is it? Is it a good idea to even try to gift crypto? So I'm not sure it is, and we'll talk a bit about that. But because the holiday season has already started, first of all, let me say to all of those who are watching us from various parts of the world, Happy Diwali! Today is the Festival of Lights, one of the first celebrations in this season. Diwali started yesterday, I believe. It goes for 5 days. It is the Hindu Festival of Lights, which is the celebration of good over evil, light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, and truth over lies. And we believe in all of those good things. So happy Diwali, everyone, everywhere around the world. So we have lots of questions, but before we get started, I want to talk a bit about gifting, because gifting crypto in many ways is not really a gift. So let's be honest about this. Why are you gifting cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, DAI? I don't know what you're gifting, but it doesn't matter. In many cases, you're gifting this because you are really enthusiastic about your favorite cryptocurrency. Oh, my breathing is coming in too loud on the mic. Well, I got some nice information here. I'm going to scooch it down just a tiny bit. Hang on a second. Thank you for the feedback. I won't give you any more feedback. All right, let's get back to it. So, gifting cryptocurrency. I often hear people who are very excited to gift cryptocurrency because they are very enthusiastic about cryptocurrency. So this is how it plays out with the family. Hey everyone, guess what I got you this year? Bitcoin! And everybody in your family is like, oh, not again. Just make it stop. We already spent 3 hours on Thanksgiving with that being the only topic you wanted to talk about. I don't know what it's all about. I honestly don't care. And I am sick and tired of hearing about it. So please stop talking about it. So before we even get into this conversation about how to gift cryptocurrency, the first question we should ask is whether we should be gifting cryptocurrency. Here's the deal. Okay, you've gotten an idea. You've seen the truth. You know this thing is going to be bigger than sliced bread. And it's going to be amazing, and you want to share this enthusiasm with everyone around you, and you even imagine this fantastic scenario where you gift them an insignificant amount today, and 10 years from now it pays for their college, and it's a wonderful surprise to everyone. But that's not actually how it plays out. So gifting, surprisingly enough, is about the recipient and what the recipient of the gift wants and what the recipient of the gift will be happy to receive, not about you the giver of the gift. I know, crazy idea. But if you make the gift about what you're excited about and not about what the recipient is excited about, you're doing gifting wrong. Also, especially if the gift you provide creates an obligation to safeguard a secret, to store a paper wallet, to protect the keys, an obligation where you will be very disappointed if the other person doesn't feel the same sense of commitment to your crazy project and doesn't fulfill that obligation. And if that's what you're gifting, that's not really a gift. We'll talk about it again when we get to what is the worst way to give crypto. That's an upcoming question we have on our list. But I wanted to preface all of this with, make sure that if you decide that the gift you're going to give is a gift of Bitcoin or a gift of another cryptocurrency, that you're doing it because you think the other people will actually enjoy this and not groan inwardly while smiling graciously on the outside. Are we having some difficulties with the mic? It appears we're having some difficulties with the mic. You know, give me a second. Let me see if I can fiddle with some cables, tweak some dials, and get back to you. There's no sound right now? Mic is off. Okay. I can see sound going out. Sound is okay. Sound is not okay. We don't know. Here's the thing. There's a 30-second delay approximately between when you start freaking out because I'm doing something weird that's making my microphone rub on my shirt, and the moment that you say it in the chat, and then I see it 30 seconds later, then I'm worried about something that already happens. Now people are saying the mic is fine because I just start talking about the mic, and sound is fine. All right, and now you're going to watch 30 seconds later me talking about how the mic is now fine because I'm seeing that on the chats now. Right back to it. All right, so gifting cryptocurrency. We've all done it. Here's the thing. I started gifting cryptocurrency in 2012, and I would go to meetings and I would give people literally $5 worth of Bitcoin, $10 worth of Bitcoin, $1 worth of Bitcoin, when Bitcoin was worth $7. So I was literally giving people a whole Bitcoin or half a Bitcoin. And I kept doing that for several years. And I know that many of those people lost access to the wallets that I had installed for them, never really paid attention to what they were receiving, and that Bitcoin is lost forever. Now that's okay. It's okay because effectively every Bitcoin that's lost becomes a gift through a deflationary effect to the rest of the economy. You know, every now and then I think back and do some arithmetic and I cry a bit, but that passes pretty quickly because, you know, if we didn't do that back in the day, we wouldn't be here today having this conversation. So let's talk about the practicality of this. All right, our first question comes from Anonymous. I want to give my two best friends who aren't into crypto a small amount of Bitcoin for Christmas. What's the best way to do that? Paper wallets? Paper wallets are a very popular mechanism for gifting Bitcoin. I don't think they're the best mechanism for gifting Bitcoin, but it very much depends on how much Bitcoin you intend to give. Now, if what you're talking about is giving someone $20 worth, $50 worth maybe, like an amount of Bitcoin that's enough to start a new wallet, get some interest, try it out, sure. But in that case, if it's such a small amount, I wouldn't do it on a paper wallet, because it's actually quite difficult to import that paper wallet successfully into a working wallet and use it for something. So what I would do instead would be, I would install a mobile wallet on their mobile device and help them set it up, and then send them some Bitcoin of a small amount, you know, $10, $20, whatever, in order to demonstrate, first of all, a transaction, right? Because if you demonstrate a transaction, that's part of the gift, is let me show you how to set it up. Let me help you select a wallet that isn't going to immediately steal your money. Let me show you how to do your first transaction, etc., etc. If, on the other hand, you intend to make a gift of Bitcoin that is substantial, let's say hundreds of dollars, or even, I mean, you must be a very generous friend, thousands of dollars, like a really life-changing amount, or even a month-changing amount, a stimulus check-sized amount. If you're going to be twice as generous as the federal government, then a paper wallet might be a dangerous way to do it, because you will be very upset if they lose it, if they misuse it, or if they simply lose track of it after a while. So let's say that becomes an even greater amount. Maybe a paper wallet will work, but I think not. Pardon me. So I would do it a different way. And by the way, I have done it that way. I have given people paper wallets. And the user interface of a paper wallet isn't very convenient. People don't understand how the magic of QR codes translates into money. They don't understand the importance of keeping that thing safe, and that there are no backups. They don't understand that if you end up smudging the QR code enough, it will become unreadable, and then you've lost the money forever. They don't understand that if you import that paper wallet as a key into a wallet without sweeping it, meaning without doing a transaction, and you try to spend, the change will not go back to the paper wallet. It will go to another change address, and then if you delete the mobile wallet where you did that transaction, you will lose the change completely. So when you do a paper wallet, you have to sweep it completely. There's all of these little nuances, and they're nuances that you don't really understand until you get much more into this technology. Now, if you really wanted to do it on paper, I would recommend a better mechanism would be to create a mnemonic. And you can do it one of two ways. You can either install a mobile wallet for your friend and then go through the process of generating a mnemonic, writing it down, 12-word mnemonic, writing it down, showing them how to back it up, and explaining to them why that's important. And that way they have a wallet that they can actually use. A wallet that handles change and receive addresses and protects their privacy, that does all of the things that you want a wallet to do. They also have a backup, and the two work hand in hand. I'd go even further and say, if you really want to be a good friend and you are trustworthy, because after all you are gifting them this, generate a mnemonic in advance, keep a backup of it, because your friend will forget, discard, or lose the mnemonic backup and the mobile device wallet, and keep it somewhere in a safe. Right on top of it, Joe's Christmas present 2020, Katie's New Year's gift or birthday gift 2020. So that your heirs don't end up sweeping it if something happens to you, but also so that when inevitably 2 years from now you go to your friend Joe, hey, remember that wallet I set up for you? You do know it's now worth enough to buy a nice car. They don't look at you like you're an idiot because they discarded it immediately after you left the party. And then you can be the hero. You can say, you know what? I kept a backup just in case. So you can get your gift back, only this time it's actually worth something even more. All right, I'm seeing in the chat people are like, yeah, paper wallets, let's do paper wallets. Andreas only spends a couple of hours a month going online and telling people not to use paper wallets because they're obsolete, based on the fact that he actually knows what he's talking about, and at one time actually created a paper wallet company that sold paper wallet kits, and then later on, after that technology was obsoleted by mnemonic phrases, has been trying for the past 5 years to tell people to stop using paper wallets, but instead people keep wanting to use paper wallets. So when the advice is don't use a paper wallet, it's obsolete technology, the answer is, but what about the paper wallet that I found yesterday? But what about that paper wallet? Yeah, that's obsolete technology. Don't use that. Use a mnemonic phrase, which is the correct and modern way of backing up keys. Because it handles change addresses, because you can generate it on a secure device such as a hardware wallet, because you can write it down by hand and not store a copy of it in the digital memory of a printer that can easily be compromised or reprinted later. Because 1,000 reasons, all of which I have carefully considered and distilled into 5 words. Do not use paper wallets. 5 words that distill a decade almost of experience in this space and 2 more decades of experience in information security. And to explain all of that would take a very long time, so I've distilled it very carefully for 5 words. Do not use paper wallets. So what are... Oh, sound is cracking again. Oh, I don't know why. Let me reduce the volume. You see, when I get excited and then my microphone starts crackling, because I speak loudly, and I think the volume was up a bit high. The gain was too high. And I got all excited because what I'm trying to tell you is to not use paper wallets. And what are you saying on the chat? How about we use paper wallets? No, don't use paper wallets. But what about if I use that paper wallet? Don't use paper wallets. I think it's a microphone problem. I think it's a microphone problem. Don't use paper wallets. Is it because you can't hear me? Okay, the microphone has now been fixed, so allow me to repeat myself. Do not use paper wallets. Don't use paper wallets. Do not use paper wallets. Reduce the gain more. Use a mnemonic. A mnemonic is a paper wallet. I mean, kind of. It allows you to record keys on paper, which is really what you want to do. But it is interoperable and standardized on multiple wallet software. It can be imported cleanly with a defined procedure. It allows multiple currencies to be used with a single backup. It handles change and receive addresses so as not to reuse addresses. It doesn't accidentally lose change. It doesn't depend on reading QR codes that can degrade over time. It can be transcribed by hand instead of a printer, etc., 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 etc. If what you're trying to do is record on paper, by all means, record on paper. It's very sensitive to water, fire, damage, tearing, but at least record something that a human can write and read directly, and record a mnemonic phrase that builds a proper hierarchical deterministic wallet. Do not use a paper wallet. Now, if you really want to give them something that has a better user interface, one of the things that I kind of like is the OpenTime device. And I'm not endorsing the particular company or product. I'm just telling you that I've used it in the past and I kind of like it. It's a little USB stick. It has some disadvantages. It has some disadvantages. The disadvantage is okay. The peanut gallery is really hilarious today. I don't know what is happening. You know, we are having some more problems with the microphone. Yeah. So back to what I was saying. The OpenTime is a neat little device because it's basically a single private key and public key that's on a USB stick, so you can check its balance. And the USB stick interface is familiar to lots of people. The big disadvantage of this device is, one, again, it's a singular key and you can't back it up. So if there's a problem, it will degrade and eventually be lost. But it's better than a paper wallet in my opinion because it bundles the actual user interface. And so from that perspective, yeah. So from that perspective, an open dime is better than a paper wallet for small amounts, but it's not as good as a mnemonic phrase backup for larger amounts. That's kind of how I play the balance. Now I'm going to take a brief pause here. I'm going to mute my microphone because I think what's happening is that because the air conditioning isn't working in here and I have a fan going, what you're hearing is actually the fan that's blowing air onto the microphone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the microphone, I'm going to turn the fan off, and I'm going to go into intermission for just a few seconds. Okay. All right, so now we know what's happening here, and what's happening is that we have two types of people in the audience. People wearing headphones and people not wearing headphones. If you're wearing headphones, then a tiny bit of background noise is going to drive you completely insane, and you're going to be, for the love of God, turn off the mic, or turn down the mic, or turn off the noise, or do something, stop. And then other people are not listening with headphones. They're like, what are you people talking about? It sounds perfect. It was the fan. The fans have spoken. It was the fan. All right, my sincere apologies. Do not use a paper wallet. So let's go to our, so again, back to our conversation here. I'm going to continue to follow up here. Obviously, at this point, there is no chance that this section of the video is going to be properly cut into a coherent thought about paper wallets. Because halfway through, I was looking at the chat scrolling by with people screaming about the microphone not working. Then someone suggested that it was rubbing against my shirt. And then someone helpfully suggested that I should not wear a shirt from now on. And I should just do these topless so as to get better sound. I assure you, the complaints would have kept rolling in. And they would have been of a different nature. So it's gone. I mean, this is ruined now. There is no way we can salvage this particular question. So it was live. You watched it now. Those who watch it on replay will be wondering what the hell happened during this segment. My video producer is going to be unable to cut it into a coherent whole. So we'll just go to the next question, won't we? If, as a US citizen, I've gifted small amounts of cryptocurrency to friends this year, do I need to pay capital gains on the transfer? What an excellent question. You should actually ask your accountant. No, I'm not kidding. I mean, seriously, it's a great question. You should actually ask an accountant. Because I'm not an accountant, and the answer that I will give you is the answer of a somewhat well-informed layperson that, if you follow without seeking advice from a properly qualified professional, may result in you misreporting your taxes, and you wouldn't want to do that, so please do ask an accountant. But here's the bottom line. When it comes to, from my experience, when it comes to making a gift as the giver of a gift, In the United States, you have the ability to give up to, I think, $14,000 a year per person, approximately. It changes from year to year. So I think this year you can give that without paying taxes on it. The recipient doesn't have to pay taxes on the gift. The giver doesn't have to pay taxes as long as it's less than $14,000. If it's more than $14,000, you have to deal with your lifetime gift exemption as part of your inheritance, and et cetera, et cetera. But that has to do with paying a gift tax. The question that was asked here is actually more specific. It's about capital gains tax. And capital gains taxes is assessed. From what I understand, when you gift, the gift is a taxable event. So you would have to declare the gains that you gained between the moment you bought the cryptocurrency and the moment you gifted it as a gain that you accrued before gifting it, because the gifting became a taxable event. You know, ask an accountant, as I said before, but I think, yes, you do have to report capital gains or losses on a gift, because it does create a taxable event because you're transferring to someone else. It's a bit like buying something. So gift tax, no. Income tax, no, probably not. Capital gains, yes. I think that is the case. Now, if you are giving more than $14,000 to your friends in cryptocurrency this year in the middle of a pandemic, you're a saint, you're a wonderful person. You're also an idiot because they're probably going to lose it. But you're a wonderful idiot. How generous. I mean, really, we're all in tears at this moment because that is really a wonderful thing to do. Yes, the Crypto asks, how do you recommend we gift crypto education? How can we make it stick and actually be taken seriously? One of the things I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, is Bitcoin especially, but most cryptocurrencies and concepts around blockchains are best demonstrated than explained. Show, don't tell. And if you show, and you can do that as part of gifting a small amount as part of your demonstration, that's going to stick a hell of a lot more. I remember one of the early demonstrations was a round-robin transfer of cryptocurrency done. It's kind of a famous example where a rather wealthy early investor in Bitcoin had 4 or 5 friends sit in a circle, and he transferred a ridiculous amount of of Bitcoin specifically. This was back in 2013, I believe, to the person sitting next to them, who then transferred it to the person sitting next to them, who transferred it all the way around the circle until it arrived back at the first person. So it wasn't really a gift, it was more of a gimmick, but it went all the way around. And everybody held it for just a few seconds. The story goes that they were transferring $250,000 around the table in a matter of minutes. And obviously for people who are used to the traditional banking system, that was a mind-blowing experience. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what you need to do. I would suggest you start with $5 and you can do that as part of a small gift of an amount that allows you to demonstrate how. I think it's also important to walk through the more difficult steps, which is how to choose a cryptocurrency wallet, how to install a cryptocurrency wallet, how to generate a mnemonic phrase, what the mnemonic phrase is, and writing it down, backing it up, etc., etc. For all of that, I would say that is the best way to gift a crypto education. Just to give you a bit of a ruthless plug, this is a good moment for me to advertise my own crypto education, so bear with me. This is the new workshop that I just launched. It's our first commercial workshop. So we got 2 workshops up on my website. The Introduction to Bitcoin and Open Blockchains, which is a free workshop, and the Choose Your Cryptocurrency Wallet, which teaches you everything you need to know so you can confidently choose a cryptocurrency wallet. And we've got a code, NICNIC, not your keys, not your coins. NICNIC gets you 10% discount for that. So that's my gift to you. And now I can't switch that image off because, oh, there I can. that ad ran longer than I expected because I couldn't figure out how to switch it off, or so I claim. So one of the things I do believe in is gifting education. So we'll see if I can set up some kind of gift card or token so that you can buy a workshop for your friends. But other than the self-serving ad, I think demonstrating to someone how you use cryptocurrency, how you would set up a wallet, and helping them do that is much more interesting than simply giving them cryptocurrency. So next question comes from Anonymous. Should I get my family into crypto by giving them some Bitcoin or Ether this year instead of the crap that they've actually asked for? So I will refer you back to the beginning of this conversation where I explained the concept of a gift. And this is not it. This is not a gift. This is you making decisions about what other people should like, and then pretending as a gift to make those decisions for them and forcing them to smile through gritted teeth and say, oh, how wonderful, Uncle Anonymous came through again, just like last year when he got me another pair of socks. No, that's how you just become the annoying person at the table. Don't do this. Let's see what else we have in questions here. A practical question. This one's good. A family member entrusts you to keep a backup copy of their seeds. You give them some Bitcoin. Did you just give it to yourself? Well, there's the practical and then there's the legal. And I'm not a lawyer. So from a practical perspective, you gave them a gift that you can now take away. Which, depending on how trustworthy of a scoundrel pirate you are, you may decide to, in fact, take it away, in which case it wasn't a gift in the first place. It was a bait and switch. So here's the thing. I do actually recommend that if you are a trustworthy person, you keep a backup of the mnemonic so that you can re-gift the gift after they've lost it 5 years from now. And that way, if they decide they don't want it and they want to return it, you know, kind of like when you give a gift in the US and you say the receipt or the gift receipt is in the box. If you don't like it, you can return it. They will take it back and you can buy a credit for your new PS5 or whatever the kids are into nowadays. So from that perspective, you can think of keeping a backup of the mnemonic as a way to take back the gift and give them something else if they don't like it. Now, from a legal perspective, and more importantly from a tax perspective, I don't think you can really pull the trick that says, I gave it to myself, therefore this wasn't a gift, therefore no capital gains or gift implications otherwise. So I would be very careful with following that logic. This is a bit like saying grandpa gives his granddaughter some money and deposits it in the joint account that they have, therefore grandpa didn't give this to the granddaughter, but in fact they did, so that doesn't work. So depending on how you're asking this question, I think you're playing tricks. All right, okay, this one's fun. This one's fun. What are the worst ways to give a gift of crypto to my friends? Let Let's be creative here. Let me come up with the worst ways I can imagine. All right, in the vein of my previous conversation, giving a gift that is not wanted by the recipient. That is one of the worst ways to give a gift. Giving a gift to make a point that, again, is unwanted by the recipient. Let me give you a perfect example. There are groups of people who do this thing, which is really, truly awful, where they go to restaurants or diners and things like that, and at the end of their meal, they leave what looks like a $50 tip, a $50 bill folded up nicely, and it says $50 on the outside in green ink, and it looks right. And then you open it, and inside it says, "The Lord giveth," or some shit like that, and it's some kind of religious message instead of a tip to a service worker who is being paid $2 an hour, exempt from minimum wage, and they think that's a tip because they gave them the gift of the Lord. That probably is about the worst thing you can do in polite society. I think that makes you kind of the prince of douchebags. But giving crypto to a service worker or giving Bitcoin to a homeless person as a paper wallet, that makes you the king of douchebags. So it's even worse than tipping someone with a Bible verse when they're expecting some actual money so they can feed their kids. One of the worst ways to give crypto as a gift is to give it to people who absolutely did not ask for it, did not want it, and even worse, to give it in the circumstances where it really should have been a tip, a donation, a form of charity, where other people really depend on that money. That is terrible. Don't do that. Second, I don't think it's funny to give someone one of the bottom 35 forks of Bitcoin. I don't think it would be funny to say, "I got you some Bitcoin papaya, which is the fork of Bitcoin. It's kind of like Bitcoin, but it's only worth 23 cents each." That would be annoying as hell, because they would spend every day looking at the ticker going, "I have Bitcoin, I have Bitcoin," and think they're very, very rich until they discover that it's actually Bitcoin papaya and not Bitcoin, and that would suck. The other thing is to give gifts with strings attached. So to give a gift of crypto and then demand that they hold it, demand that they spend it when you tell them you spend it, demand that they don't spend it, demand that they spend it only on the things that you want them to spend it on, or use it in a way that you want them to use it. Again, all of these things are not gifts. These are you just being annoying and obnoxious, and don't do that. It's not nice. Let's see what other fun questions we have on the list. And I'm going through these fairly quickly, so, you're going to have to ask some more. You liked papaya? Okay. This one's a good one. AJ asks, are there any market solutions for gifting Bitcoin to a newborn? Gifting Bitcoin to a newborn. So the evil genius in me thought that this would be a great time to suggest tattooing a Bitcoin paper wallet QR code on the baby. Just to see how many people are horrified by this idea. And then perhaps doing an ICO behind the commercial application of this idea, which is permanently tattooed QR codes of paper wallets on babies. Newborn babies. Don't worry, they don't feel pain until they're 6 months old. By the way, that is untrue. So no, don't I don't know of any market solutions for gifting Bitcoin to a newborn. But there are traditional solutions for gifting Bitcoin to people who are underage, and then putting some parameters around how they have access to that. So in all seriousness, yes, you can do this. One way to do this, and the way family dynasties do this, the way wealthy people do this, is called a trust. So a trust is an entity. It's a bit like a corporation. It's a vehicle for gifting that survives the grantor, as it's known, that survives the person who makes the gift, and can set some parameters that are managed by a third party known as the trustee as to when that is paid out. Now, you've obviously heard of trust fund babies. There's no reason why you can't put in a trust cryptocurrency. So you can put real estate, you can put diamonds, you can put cars, you can put cash. So you can also put cryptocurrency in a trust. It's complicated. You have to think about who has control, and you probably want to do that with some kind of multi-sig. You have to find trustees who are sophisticated. It's all very complicated, but if you're seriously thinking about this, if you're seriously thinking about giving, and I'm assuming giving a larger amount, where you're thinking of this more as a legacy amount, where it's locked, and 18 years from now or 17 and a half years from now it's unlocked and then doled out to that. Yeah, I mean, again, talk to a lawyer. Talk to, you're looking for a particular specialty of legal advice, which is called estate planning. So trusts and estates is the area of law. It is very specific to jurisdictions. You can't just go do this by yourself. You will need to talk to someone who helps you decide how to structure this. And it depends on your local jurisdiction how and exactly that is done. Now, if you want to do a more DIY solution, of course, one of the options for gifting, and I hate to say this, but I owe you a duty of giving you all of the information and all of the advice, even if I advise you against it in the long term, is a custodial account. I mean, you can theoretically open an account, for example, on an exchange. Perhaps some exchanges, custodial exchanges, do that for people who are under 18. And then do some kind of dollar cost averaging that just accumulates small amounts in a sort of savings plan and vaults it for when that person is of age. I wouldn't do that because I don't really like custodial solutions, but it might be easier. Putting the private key in your will, in your legacy, in your last will and testament document, absolutely no, do not do that. There's a number of reasons why you shouldn't do that, including that anybody who gets access to read that will before the right time could easily swipe that money, and it's impossible to know who swiped it, because in some jurisdictions wills are part of the public record, so they're published, and they're published before someone has the right to take that money. And then for a bunch of other reasons. I mean, if you want to learn more about that, the best way to learn is a book by Pamela Morgan called Crypto Asset Inheritance Planning. Are Bitcoin dimes or some similar cheap hardware wallet a safer way to physically gift Bitcoin compared to paper? Do we trust electronics versus paper storage for longer periods of time? This is a great question because it kind of covers both ends of this spectrum. If you're trusting a very small amount, then I think an open dime, which is basically a USB paper wallet, which is a single key device, that will work better for the recipient because it has the user interface embedded into it, so you can check the balance of your system without needing to understand how QR codes. People understand that, you know, the money is on this physical USB stick. Do not lose it. Do not break it. Keep it somewhere safe. So yes, but that's for small amounts. because it's a single key, because it's not possible to back it up, because it can get damaged by electromagnetic radiation, by physical damage, by fire, by things like that, it's not a durable mechanism. But then again, neither are hardware wallets. However, with hardware wallets, you can make an additional backup in the form of a mnemonic phrase. For larger amounts, I think a hardware wallet is absolutely both a durable, appropriate mechanism. It provides a great user interface for the novice user to deliver adequate or even high levels of security without expertise, where it is almost foolproof, it is almost fail-safe, and you can make a backup of that on a durable medium. So for example, etching the mnemonic phrase on steel, and you could deliver both as a nice package, an etched mnemonic phrase, or you could deliver it as a kit that you sit down and do, kind of like when you gift a puzzle at the Christmas party, and you're so excited because you gifted a puzzle and you're like, let's do it all together now, and the person you gave it to doesn't want to do it, but they do it anyway just to please you. So you can gift them a hardware wallet and a mnemonic phrase recording device, and then go walk them through the steps and etch it on the steel, or put the little tiles in the capsule, or whatever. Again, I think all of this makes a lot more sense if you're talking about a larger amount, like where the cost of $100 or $120 hardware wallet makes sense in the context of the amount of money you put on it. And if it's not that kind of amount, then I would go with something simpler, all the way down to a mobile wallet with a mnemonic phrase. All right, so this is a good point for us to quickly say thank you to the people who have been giving me and my team the gift of support. The gift of support for me to be able to do this work, and to do it without strings attached, in a neutral way, without shilling, without sponsoring. Simply tell you what I think is true, with no motivation other than to help educate as many people as possible about Bitcoin, about open blockchains, about this exciting technology and its impact on the future of our world. And so I really want to take a moment to thank all of the people who make it possible for me to do this work. And let's do that now. So my patrons are the cat's meow, if you didn't know that. More than 750 community builders. And I will actually stop and thank each of them by name. Every month, we ask people if they want to have their name highlighted, and it's an opt-in process. Not all 750. Very few actually want their name highlighted, but when they do, I'm going to thank them personally for their contribution. And one of the ways we thank people is by giving them access to additional things. Early access to content, early access to the Q&A session, early access and beta testing of things like workshops and things like that. But most importantly, a personal thanks from me. So unfortunately, I have to switch screens in order to be able to read this. So, to the people this month who I need to thank: Cosmatos, Aljosha Sulcha, Anita Posh, Attila Dansko, Bitcoin Newbie, Brooklyn Frank, Brian Odlum, Carlos M, Catwalk Stefan, Crypto Chrissy, Daniel Kolsdorf, Danilo Majenich, David Freer, David Hardridge, David Stansel, Ed Posnack, Elias E, or Elias E, Enrico, Frank M, Ferk, Giovanni, Gregory Luneau, Ian Baxter, Johnny Krypton, Juan the Leverage Architect, Karen Ishihara, Lucia, aka Dancing Crypto, Magor Make Void, Francesco Canessa, Marshall Smeets, Marcy S, Matt Briz, Mimble, Moi, Niraj Badaya, Normand Richard, Outback Trader, Outlier Canada, Parble, Paul McMaster, Rafal Shislak, Richard Taylor, Sammy R. Labib, Sakin, Steve Isaacson, Stone Sorcery, Tim Wright, Whackpack, W. Day, Zoltan Gali. Thank you so much, all of you. You may have noticed some of those names, or many of those names, correspond to people who are currently in the chat and also who have been asking great questions on the Slido. Again, thank you to all of the people who make it possible, not just for me, but for a team of 12 people now to be able to produce quality content. And that's enough of that. And I was thinking of doing some kind of topic. Yes, how about we do a topic called Down the Rabbit Hole, where in Down the Rabbit Hole, I ask myself the question I wish you had asked me but didn't, so therefore I had to ask me, and then I asked me, and then I answered, and then I give it a fancy name called Down the Rabbit Hole, just to confuse everybody about why I'm answering a question that I asked myself. In this episode of Down the Rabbit Hole, we talk about giving the gift of crypto to you, by you. So when I ask myself the question I want to ask myself and then answer myself, that question is, how do I gift myself a gift to myself that I receive myself? That sounds really selfish, but that's exactly what I'm going to suggest right now, which is even before this season, you gift the gift of crypto to others. First, give some to yourself. And here's what I mean. I think there's some loose crypto in your couch. In your couch cushions, in between the couch cushions, under the bed, hiding in that jacket pocket. Okay, not really, but in the digital equivalent of all of those places. When's the last time you went through your backup stash to see what mnemonics you hadn't explored? Maybe you have some leftover backup mnemonic paper wallet. Maybe on that backup mnemonic paper wallet or other system of backup, you have a additional derivation path or an additional cryptocurrency that you forgot about. Maybe you were playing with some crypto back in the day that you forgot about. Maybe you have that account on an exchange that we're using back in 2015, 16, 17, 18, and then you forgot about it, and maybe you left a bit of loose change on there, but it wasn't really worth anything at the time. And so go back and look at that. Maybe on your password manager, you stored a mnemonic that you were only using for testing purposes, and you forgot about it, and it's still sitting there, and it only has some loose change, but that loose change has just gone up in price by 50% over the last 3 months. So, yes, go looking for the crypto you forgot about. Look in all of the nooks and crannies on the computers. Spend an hour, and it might be a very rewarding hour. It may pay you, minimum wage in the United States is $7.25, which is ridiculous. But in other places it's a bit more. But for an hour of your time, can you get $20 worth of crypto from some hidden stash that you forgot about? So that's the Down the Rabbit Hole for this session. Before you start gifting crypto to others, spend an hour this season. If you don't find anything, you have achieved my hidden goal. And my hidden goal is that you just did a backup and security audit of your crypto backups. You managed to make sure it's still there, it's in the place you expected it to be, it hasn't been devoured by rodents while you weren't looking, It hasn't been swiped by your annoying cousin who used it to buy weed, and it's still there. And even better, you learn something about maybe derivation paths or legacy addresses or how to import it, or you did a test with a different system. Now, don't go importing your cold storage that you know already has maybe a more significant amount of money into a hot wallet just to see if there's some loose change. That's not a good idea, and you would be exposing those keys to potentially corrupt software, malware that you downloaded just for this test. No, don't do that. Cold storage should stay cold and only ever be imported into a hardware wallet. But there's always the possibility that you have some other wallets lying around. So that was my section of Down the Rabbit Hole. And let's see if we can do maybe 2 or 3 more questions. We have about 375 people on the live stream at the moment, or maybe more. And there's some people on Twitch too. Hi, Twitch. Listen, I don't have enough bandwidth to be streaming on Facebook too right now. I don't. I'm in a new location, it doesn't have enough bandwidth, and I had to pick which audience to dump. And honestly, right, I dumped Facebook. You know why. You know why. Of course I did. Come on, press the button. That button. There we go. How about them wanting crypto as a gift and you not being keen on the idea? Anonymous, you're not supposed to say that part out loud. If you are a hodl maniac and all of your relatives suddenly remembered that you're into this stuff and now they all want part of the gravy train, and not only do they want you to gift them crypto, but they think that you are a millionaire, nay, billionaire, nay, trillionaire because you bought at the peak of 2017 and do not know the secret tiers. You will be asked to buy them cars and yachts and mansions and gift them crypto in amounts that they think are appropriate to your newfound wealth, and you will not want to do that. So give them a gift card to the Outback Steakhouse or Arby's. Or if you don't have something like that, think of a disgusting chain restaurant that serves fast food pretending it's healthy exotic family fare. Give them that instead, and then tell them that you lost your crypto in an unfortunate boating accident. It's always an unfortunate boating accident. And be clear, it was a boating accident in a kayak. Don't let them think you have a yacht, then they're just going to want more crypto. All right, and the last question of the day, which I think is actually a serious question, Karen in SF asks, any advice for gifting small amounts to a couple of friends in Venezuela under 50 USD? I'm in the USA, thank you. Get them to install a Bitcoin wallet. Mobile smartphone wallet is safe. Have them record the mnemonic. Have them send you a receive address. Do not let them use a web wallet or a custodial account. But I do know that there are lots of people in Venezuela who run informal markets that exchange crypto and will give people the local currency at very, very, very good exchange rates. So that's a wonderful way to make what may appear as a small gift on your end be an almost life-changing gift on the other end. $50 goes a long way in Venezuela. I know lots of people who are living on $50 a month. Lots of people living on less than that, of course. But even some of the formerly middle class or upper middle class people are living on $50 a month. It really is a tragic economic disaster there. So yes, what a wonderful thing to do. And I think that's a good place to wrap things up. Thank you so much for attending this live stream about gifting crypto, where I started by telling you why you shouldn't. Then I proceeded to tell you not to use paper wallets, but you didn't listen. Then the microphone broke down. Then we laughed a lot about the microphone breaking down. Then you said some weird things on the chat. Then we went through a bunch of good questions. We did a little rabbit hole. I think it was fun. And I really enjoyed doing this today. We have the open topic Q&A live stream, which is the monthly live stream in 2 weeks. And another special bonus live stream coming right after that in December, called Awkward Holiday Conversations, where I will teach you how to explain Bitcoin to people who neither want to understand. Okay, maybe they do. If the price has mooned by then, they're probably very interested in understanding, but only so that they can buy some. And how to explain it in a way that doesn't make you look completely bonkers, and that doesn't put your relatives in bad situations or expose them to very, very bad risks. So, awkward holiday conversations. And I'm not talking about the moment when Uncle Joe blurts out the N-word at the Christmas dinner. I do not know how to handle those kinds of awkward conversations. But if you blurt out the B word, I can help you with that one. So thank you so much for attending. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. And I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.